Hey, how you doing? Alex Merrill, Alliance Tutoring. I was a teacher for 20 years in colleges and high schools around New England. I wanted to talk to you tonight about a really important part of writing. Probably the most important thing after you get through with the thesis and development of those thesis ideas in your topic sentences and structure of your essay. What are you doing with that evidence? And in particular, how is that flowing with the rest of what you're saying? Tendency to disrupt the flow of your thinking, of your logic. When you're throwing in quotations, you're trying to get some evidence to back up what you're saying. So how can we do that in a bit more of a fluid way that's going to make it easier for the reader to understand what we're talking about? 4 different ways that I'm going to introduce you to. None is necessarily superior to another, but it's important that you have all 4 in your toolbox. Here are the 4 ways. Let's talk about number 1, perhaps the most basic. Here it is. Introduce the quotation with a complete sentence and a colon. Example, Thoreau ends his essay with a metaphor, time is but the stream I go fishing in. Now, why are we using a colon there and not a comma, which is a tendency? That would be a grammatical error. Why? Because you're talking about an independent clause before that. Thoreau ends his essay with a metaphor. That's a full sentence. Subject, verb, full thought. So you would use a colon there. The second part of that sentence is explaining the first part. That's what you're using the colon for. Time is but the stream that I go fishing in. There's a quotation. Here's a second example. In Where I Lived What I Lived For, title of a chapter in quotation marks, Thoreau states directly his purpose for going to the woods, colon, there it is again. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, to see if I could not learn what it had to teach and not. When I came to die, I discovered it had not lived. Awesome quote, by the way. It's right up here in my office as a reminder of awesomeness. There it is again. Now, this is the most basic way, I would say, of integrating evidence. It tends to be a little disjointed if you're going to use that over and over and over again as a technique, but it works. Let's talk about some perhaps better options, perhaps a little bit more fluid. Here's my favorite. Method number 2, make the quotation a part of your own sentence without any punctuation between your own words and the words you are quoting. What's an example of that? Thoreau argues that, those are your own words, quote, shams and delusions are esteemed for sound as truths, but reality is fabulous. Notice how I'm picking up that quote mid-sentence there. There's nothing that says that you have to start a quotation at the beginning of the sentence that you're pulling. You can start it at any point. You can use simple phrases, words even. So this is a way of mixing basically what you're saying, you're paraphrasing, in the actual quotation itself. Very fluid. Here's another example. According to Thoreau, people are too often, quote, thrown off the track by every nutshell and mosquito's wing that falls on the rails. So there it is again. It's just a very fluid way of integrating that quotation in with your own thinking. And why do we want to do that? For the reader. Reader-based writing, not writer-based writing. You don't throw it out there and hope somebody understands what you have to say. Other way around, right? You produce writing, and this is good writing, that can be actually understood by somebody else. By a dim-witted 5-year-old child, as I like to say, who's read the book and is well-versed in literature. So, there you have it. Those are the first 2 ways to integrate evidence into your writing. A critical skill, in my opinion. Difference between a clear essay and one that's gobbledygook and will give your professors and teachers migraines. So, good luck, everybody.